This video contains some very mature themes and subject matter based on real-life events, so viewer discretion is advised. Hey everyone, it's finnthepony. So this video was a long time coming. A big face in the analysis community, Toonkritic, has been ousted as a pedophile, many of his victims have come forth publicly on social media, and many of my friends and colleagues have made a plethora of videos explaining their own stance on the topic. I feel that I'm a little bit too late to the party to make much of a dent, but I do want to come out and discuss a few things I've experienced throughout all of this, and look at it as a way for all of us to learn something. So first and foremost, why didn't I address this sooner? Well, in all honesty, it's because I didn't feel like I had a lot of ground to stand on in this situation. I was not as close with Toon as many of my other friends, nor was I online as often as them. And because of all this, I was never aware of the things he was doing. I had no clue about the way he was treating so many people. I had no clue about any of his creepy and uncalled for behavior at cons and in personal messages. I was completely in the dark for years and I didn't even know about it. I do blame myself for a lot of this though. I feel that if I was online a lot more, then I likely could have caught the situation sooner and hopefully done something to help. The times I did see a chance to make a difference in other situations, I took it, and a lot of my friends can confirm that. But there were periods when I was off of Skype for days, weeks, and at one point even a few months during one of my college final sessions. I couldn't shake this part of me that felt like I was abandoning my friends by being offline for so long. I would certainly comfort them in post if the situation was still fresh, but oftentimes I would hear my friends talking about situations that happened that I had completely missed for one reason or another, and I would have to ask them what they were talking about. I couldn't really help it since school and work were dominating my life at that time and still kind of are now, but still, I didn't want my friends to think that they were secondary at all. Some of my peers did try to comfort me and said that it's not how much time I spend online, it's how I utilize that time properly, which is true. But at the same time, spending entire weeks and months away from the people I call my friends seems really bad on my part, which is why I made it a personal goal to have better time management and go on Skype a lot more often so that I'm not completely out of the loop. Doing this has helped me manage my time better, and hopefully I'll be able to keep more up to date with things in the future, and maybe try to prevent something like this from happening again. I can't promise that I'll pick up on every single thing as I'm still incredibly busy, but I think it's a good way to improve myself. However, despite not having any knowledge prior to Toon being exposed, I do at least want to share the experiences I've had concerning the aftermath. I've spoken with a lot of Toon's victims, or at least the ones I have in my Skype contacts. They say they've been doing well, and they say that a lot of people have been reaching out to them, which is incredibly sweet. To all of you that have been supporting or comforting the people affected by this, huge thumbs up and huggles to all of you. Bless your hearts. And if I did have to make any statement to those affected by this and any future people who wind up in a similar situation, it would be this. Never, ever be afraid to reach out to someone for help. You don't need to face any kind of emotional turmoil alone. You don't need to keep secrets from people out of fear that they might not listen to you. Those that are willing to listen to you no matter what are your true friends. And being 100% honest with people is a good way to see who fits that mold. Many of Toon's victims came out and told their stories after this whole thing went down, and I give you guys tons of credit. That was definitely not an easy thing to do, so you guys should be proud of yourselves. And to add to this, when you guys do feel the need to vent or let out some kind of emotional turmoil, then you go right ahead and let it out. You get as emotional as you need to. Scream, cry, yell if you have to. Just let it all flow out so that there's nothing to bottle up anymore. It's usually not best to do it in public as that would just cause more problems than it's worth, but when you're in private with someone you love and trust and they say they can handle it, then you go for it. Facing your problems alone doesn't have to be your only option, and the sooner you reach out, the sooner you can feel more secure. Now, to everyone on the receiving end of these kind of people, try to be as open and receptive as you possibly can. Don't try to sugarcoat the situation or change the vibe to something more positive, just allow these people to let everything out as much as possible. If you want to be a rock for a person in distress, you gotta be strong like a rock. You gotta be willing to put up with waves of sadness and winds of anger and not crumble beneath them. It's not an easy task and not all people can handle it. And I'm not saying that if you can't handle it that you're a bad friend, but if you do want to take on the challenge of comforting someone, you gotta be ready for anything. Extreme emotions are harsh things, and the sooner they get out, the better. Now let's talk about forgiveness. I like to think of myself as a forgiving person. I feel that if someone has proven that they're worthy of forgiveness, then I see nothing wrong with giving it to them. But that's the key factor. They need to earn it. Forgiveness is not a be-all end-all, nor is it a requirement. It's something to give someone when you feel that they've worked hard enough or learned their lesson or done what you think is necessary to understand the impact of their wrongdoing. Heck, there are people out there who never forgive someone, and you can't exactly fault them for that. Maybe they feel that nothing is ever going to make up for what a person has done, and that's perfectly understandable. I'll never forget the scene in the Avatar episode The Southern Raiders where Katara, Zuko, and Aang are on the dock. Katara openly admits that she did not forgive the man who killed her mother, and considering he was a coward who was willing to throw his own mother under the bridge to save his own life, I'm sure a lot of people can see why. But someone does get forgiven by the end of the episode. Zuko. The guy who's proven through words and actions that he really wants to change. The guy who went on a life and death mission with Katara just so she could meet her mother's killer face to face. That is a guy that deserves to be forgiven. Someone who has proven himself in every possible way to the people he's wronged. I feel that receiving forgiveness you've earned is 100 times better than receiving forgiveness just because. You really feel like you deserve it, and you likely became a better person because of it. Forgiveness is a powerful thing, and when used correctly, it can be one of the biggest motivators for self-improvement. And of course, there's the thing that I'm hoping many of us will be able to do sometime in the future. Move on. Like with all tragedies, it's natural and healthy to move on with our lives. Let out all the anger and sadness, say our piece, and then keep moving forward. But when I say this, I don't mean leave everything in the past. One thing you should always carry with you are the life lessons you can learn from this situation. As sad as this whole thing was, I'm certain that a lot of people have taken something away from all this. Something that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives, whether it be something I brought up today or something entirely unique. Any kind of mistake or unfortunate event, no matter how small or large, always comes with a takeaway. A takeaway that can lead to self-betterment. A takeaway that allows people to learn. And whether that lesson was to not be afraid to speak up, to extend a hand of comfort to those in need, to be prepared so that this kind of thing doesn't happen again, or something entirely different, I think I can say that the situation was a life changer for a lot of us. And lastly, as far as directly addressing Toon is concerned, I obviously don't condone what he did in the slightest. I'm not going to say to go forgive him, nor am I going to say to go thrash him. What I will say is that hopefully everything that's happened will be enough drive for him to start making personal changes. Losing his friends, his fame, and his public image, while unfortunate, is hopefully the kick in the pants he needs to start on a road to self-improvement. Do I wish he would have started on this road without innocent people getting caught in the crossfire? Absolutely. The less people hurt, the better. But sadly, things didn't turn out that way. And while the scars he left behind are deep and painful, everyone is doing their best to improve the situation, and that honestly makes me happy. In conclusion, despite this tragedy causing many people pain, I am glad that in a way it has brought many members of the community together. I've seen people rushing to support victims of the incident. Chat rooms have been made so people can vent and share their stories with others. People have provided links to charities that support children in similar situations to ours. And while some may say that the actions of Toon can be a bad reflection on our community, I think the aftermath of everything casts a much better reflection. A reflection of hope, love, compassion, charity, strength, bravery, and learning. All the things that make me love this fandom so much. So to all the hurt individuals that have made their voices heard, to all of those that have been rocks and shoulders to cry on, to all of those that have made videos addressing the matter, and even to fans who simply leave a comment or message just to see if someone you care about is okay, give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys are the reason this community is great. I'll be sure to leave links in the description to some of the people that could really use some love right now. Feel free to pay them a visit, give them a hug, or even just a hello if you haven't done so already. I'm sure they'd really appreciate it. And to everyone watching right now, even if this whole thing doesn't affect you personally, always remember to be open, be honest, be accepting, be careful, and most of all, be caring. I'm Finn the Pony, and I hope to see you all real soon.